finally see him, and notices that Al is wearing the same cloak as him. Al mentions how he got it from Helen, and Lei is glad to hear she is well, revealing that he is her brother. He mentions how the cloak was a gift from his father and was magically enchanted. Al puts the cloak around Phallus, causing her to panic and blush, being so close to Al. This, however, lets her see Lei, and she freaks out at his ghostly appearance. Lei continues to explain that Helen was the only survivor in the village, and says that she's in danger. There is a flashback to 15 years ago. Helen calls Lei for lunch while he is training with a sword, but trips and falls over. Helen worries for him, but Lei wants to become a warrior. Suddenly, dark clouds roll in, and fire rains from the sky. They rush back to the village, only to find it burning and destroyed. The black dragon lands, giving off a terrifying roar. A young child stands up to it, throwing a rock at it. The dragon can speak, and finds it outrageous that the boy can stand up to him. The dragon feeds off of their fear, and destroys anyone who has hope. It opens its mouth, gathering dark energy, as the boy becomes terrified. Helen and Lei watch from a distance, but know that they are powerless to do anything. They decide that their only option is to run, so they quickly leave the village. But as they run, the dragon flies overhead and finds them. They quickly run the other way, but the dragon flies after them, breathing fire. The dragon enjoys seeing them run in terror. Helen becomes exhausted and falls over. She tells Lei to go on without her, and the dragon lands behind her. The dragon prepares to devour her soul, but it gets hit in the eye as Lei throws his sword. He tells Helen to run, but the sword falls, and its eye is instantly regenerated. But the dragon turns its attention to Lei, deciding to eat him first. It lunges at Lei and impales him with its teeth. Helen rushes to her brother, and the dragon delights in her despair as it makes him stronger. The dragon decides to let Helen live, but swears to return after 15 years to destroy her home again, causing her even more emotional damage and then feast on her soul. Lei swears to protect Helen even in death, and hearing this, the dragon decides to bind his soul to the area so he can witness her grim fate. After that, the dragon disappears, and Lei fades away. Back in the present, Lei explains that the dragon always leaves one survivor so they can spread the story and create even more fear. And when it awakens, it will hunt down that person and repeat the cycle. Lei begs for Al to help protect Helen, but he says that the dragon is too strong. But Lei mentions how the dragon only ate his soul when he became despaired. He believes that they can use the power, opposite of despair, to diminish the dragon's power. Lei asks Al to help him pass a message onto his sister, and Al quickly heads off, carrying Phallus as he runs. They are in a hurry because today is exactly 15 years after the dragon's previous attack. Phallus gets embarrassed, getting carried like a sack, and asks Al to carry her in his arms. But he says that this is the fastest way to run that he learned as a farmer. They make it back to the city, and fortunately the dragon has not appeared yet. Phallus calls Al a monster for treating her in such a way, but is also amazed by his immense stamina. The two go their separate ways, as Al goes to find Helen, and Phallus prepares the guards. Back at the guild, Helen's mother goes to check up on her, but finds that she's missing from her room. Helen walks alone in the forest, and soon the black dragon appears before her. It greets her after 15 years, and Helen's lost memories begin to return. She remembers that it was her fault that her brother died. The dragon reminds her how her brother would have gotten away if not for her. It says that because of her, all the people in the city will soon die. Helen begs for it not to attack the city, even offering her own life. But the dragon has no intention of letting anyone live. Helen despairs and prepares to end her life, but Al makes it to her just in time and stops her. Helen comes to her senses, but the dragon attacks Al, knocking him away. Al manages to survive, thanks to his cloak's protection. The dragon is shocked a human could survive his attack, but Al says he's not just a human, he's a farmer. Helen tells him to run away, but Al charges at the dragon, punching it in its face. Al tells Helen not to worry, and the dragon is surprised a human was able to hurt him. The dragon wants to see Al fall into despair, and the two begin to fight. The dragon charges at him, attacking with its claw, and Al struggles to defend himself. Al lands another punch, but the dragon unleashes its devastating flame onto him. Al is knocked away, and Helen tells him to leave her, not wanting any more people to die because of her. But Al tells her that it's not her fault. He tells her how he met her brother. Her brother knew she would blame herself when she regained her memories, so he told Al to tell her that he doesn't blame her for his death. He's proud that he protected his sister, and tells her to live happily for the both of them. Al gives her hope, and the dragon's power begins to diminish. The dragon curses at Al and dives at them, but Al is able to overcome the weakened dragon, defeating it with a punch. Al is finally able to relax, but just as he defeated the dragon, he suddenly gets stabbed by Helen. Al is confused and tries to grab a potion, but struggles and drops it. Helen attacks him again, and Al barely dodges. Al tries to ask her what's going on, but Helen charges to finish him off. But suddenly a wing gets in the way. The holy dragon, Mirage, appears and reveals that Helen is being possessed by the evil dragon. The holy dragon heals Al and lends him his powers, but ends up collapsing as a result. He tells Al that he has given him the power to purify the black dragon and save Helen. The evil dragon laughs, thinking Al wouldn't risk hurting Helen's body, but Al instantly punches him. The dragon is shocked, and Al can see in Helen's eyes that she wants him to stop her. Helen seems to return to herself, but as Al helps her up, she grabs him, and the evil dragon's soul bursts out and dives into Al, trying to possess him. He declares his victory, but there is a problem. Inside Al's heart, there is only farming. He is shocked that there is nothing besides growing and harvesting crops. There is nothing he is able to corrupt, and he is rejected from Al's body. The holy dragon gets back up and uses his power to purify Helen. The evil dragon's soul is shattered, and the holy dragon thanks Al for his help. The beam of light fades, with Al and Helen left unconscious. When Al wakes up, he finds himself at the guild. Phallus hugs him, happy he is okay. Al asks what happened to the dragons, and Helen tells him that Ouroboros was purified, and the holy dragon also disappeared. Al asks if Helen is okay after being possessed. She says that she is fine, and has also gained the ability to transform her arms and legs into dragon claws. Al is shocked, thinking she is still possessed, but Helen shows she can freely control the power. She plans to use this power for good and save people in the future. Helen suddenly asks about Phallus's relationship with Al, not recognizing her as the princess because of her magical hairpin. Al gets a bit worried, and Phallus says that they are childhood friends. The guildmaster bursts in, along with Jake and his friends. They are glad that Helen is okay, and amazed that Al defeated the evil dragon. They wonder how the palace will reward Al for defeating the dragon, and Phallus swears there will be a huge reward, almost accidentally revealing her identity. They have a party to celebrate Al's victory. Luke teases Al for not drinking with them, but Phallus can read his mind, knowing that Al is thinking about harvesting his potatoes in the morning, and tells him he should relax. Helen shows off her new power to everyone, and they enjoy their night. The next morning, Testa helps Al with his harvest. He is amazed that Al can manage 2 separate farms. Suddenly Rix the mailman comes running by and delivers a letter to Al. It's a letter from his father, telling him they haven't seen him in a while and should visit them. Al is conflicted because he is busy with too many quests from the guild. Back in the capo, Al walks by a tomato stand. He is amazed by its shape and color. When he takes a bite, he is shocked, finding it to be delicious. He demands to know who produced it and learns that they are from a farm from a town called Lalugas. The shopkeeper tells him their secret is that they use a special fertilizer. Al dashes off, arriving at the guild. He tells Helen he needs to take time off from the guild, which causes her to panic. But Al says he needs to go to Lalugas to visit his family and check out those tomatoes. He asks if some other adventurers could cover for his quests, and Helen tells him that she can cover for him, revealing that she has also become an adventurer thanks to her powers. Outside the guild, he runs into Phallus. She wants to accompany Al on a quest, but he tells her about his plan to visit his parents. She gets excited and decides to tag along, wanting to meet and thank his parents. Al fails to deter her and just quickly runs away. Al walks through the jungle, getting excited as he thinks about the tomatoes. Suddenly an orc appears, but it appears to be friendly. Al remembers that male orcs are friendly toward guys, but it turns out it wants to bone. Al runs for it, but gets caught, and the orc tries to have its way with him. But the orc is defeated, and Al meets a young girl with blue hair. Al is traumatized from the encounter, and explains this is the second time he's been attacked by an orc. The girl tells him that the forest is dangerous, but Al tells her he is also an adventurer. The girl introduces herself as Ruri, and they find out they are both heading to Lalugas. They decide to travel together, but Al worries if it is okay for her to travel with a man, since they will need to spend a night in the wild together. Ruri jokes about cutting off his head if he tries anything, but says she is not worried because she isn't cute, but Al says that she is cute, and she is flattered. They continue on their way, and suddenly they sense danger. But it's actually just Rix, who delivers another letter to Al. It's a letter from his mother, and Al reveals to Ruri that he has actually been getting a ton of them, so that's why he is going there to visit his parents. But really he is going to find this special fertilizer. He then goes on to rant about tomatoes, and Ruri gets a headache. Al asks Ruri about her family, wondering if they were worried about her being an adventurer all alone, but Ruri says no one will worry about her. Ruri changes the subject and decides they should set up camp. She pulls a tent out of her bag, and Al is amazed she can fit so much into such a small bag. Al wants to know more about the bag, and Ruri tells him it is an heirloom left by her ancestor. Al wonders who her ancestor is, but suddenly his stomach growls and they stop to make some food. Al is amazed by Ruri's cooking and praises her for her use of ingredients. He then asks her why she is headed to Lulugus. She reveals she is going for training. She has heard rumors of demons appearing, so she is going to investigate. Al wonders why she is doing something so dangerous, and she reveals she is actually the descendant of the great hero that killed the Demon King. Al is amazed to learn this, but is still worried for her because she is a girl doing this all alone. Ruri freezes up and is surprised someone is actually worried for her and thanks him for caring. They decide to get some rest, and Al chooses to sleep outside on the floor. Ruri tells him to share her tent, saying she trusts him, but Al thinks it's inappropriate. Ruri mentions there might be more orcs, and Al quickly changes his mind. Al is surprised that Ruri has 2 sets of sheets. She tells him that it's her dream to have a friend chat with her until they fall asleep. Al decides to help fulfill her dream, but she ends up falling asleep right away. In her sleep, Ruri attacks Al, and he has a troubling night. In the morning, they reach Lulugus, and Ruri wonders how Al became injured. Al plays it off, and they enter the town. They say their farewells, but Ruri tells him that she enjoyed traveling with him and wants to join him again. Al tells her to be his escort for when he goes back to the capital, and she happily agrees. She draws him a map and tells him to find her when he is ready to go back. Ruri asks around about the demons, but nobody has heard anything. Suddenly she hears a scream, and there's a girl that claims her sister was abducted by a demon. She tells Ruri that her sister was taken into the Phantom's forest, and Ruri quickly goes to look for her, but there's a man that watches from a distance.